welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a prophecy of craft brew on the side. I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate, and on this episode, we will be seeing our way through Chapter 63 of Stone of Tears.
Hell yeah, we will be.
We hope you guys all had a good break. It is Monday morning, so most of us are back at it. I know I enjoyed the hell out of vacation, and I cannot wait to do it again next year. We also just wanted to remind you guys that the giveaway is in full swing. We've already gotten a couple of entries, I'm happy to say. All you got to do is send us a message with basically something that Terry gave to you. And we are going to be picking a winner and then giving away the complete Children of Dahara novel as a gift.
And we already have our hands on it, and it looks super fucking awesome. So
it is really awesome.
You should get your entries in ASAP.
It's even got the fancy bookmark, the ribbon in the middle of the book. I'm just not used to that, is all. We have a lot of paperback books, which I love because they're small. You can take them with you.
Yeah.
But the nice hard covers with those,
it's another level.
That's a nice book. Our book friends will understand.
So that giveaway is going to be going through the month of January 21. That's because that's what we're part of now. It's 2021.
2021,
that's where we are now.
We made it.
And you can get your hands on a copy of the book starting February 2 at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, your local bookstores, all that stuff. Now, on with the show!
All right, well, this chapter opens up with Warren coming to see Richard, who is apparently in Anne's room, with the info about the prophecy. He's still there, on the floor, crying and stuff. And Jade and I had a discussion about this earlier. She brought this up to me because I assumed he was back in his room. And Jade's like, no, the last chapter ends and it just starts right here. So Richard is on the floor in Anne's office, like crying and sobbing and just very awkward situation. And then Warren comes in.
Yeah.
And this all happens while Anne is apparently being silent and in the corner of her office just watching.
Yeah. Unless there's a cutscene that is, like, skillfully put in there. Like, because he's kneeling on her floor at the last time that we see him, upset. And then it opens up with him sitting on the floor, upset. So there's no, I mean, it would be strange for him to have moved rooms and then just camped back on the floor and started crying.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we've all been upset before, but no, it was weird because I assumed that that's what had happened. And then you're like, that doesn't make sense. He's still there, just in her office. All this is just happening. And they're watching, apparently not saying anything.
Yeah, apparently Anne, or Anne slipped out and they didn't tell us, but I feel like that's a crucial piece of information. You should let us know if the old lady left.
What she did is she was like, somebody needs to get Richard out of my office. What's that kid's name? Him. Yeah, they're buddies, right? Get him to get Richard out of there.
Yeah, the mole kid. He likes the mole kid. Go get him.
So Warren, now with a secret agenda of getting Richard the hell out of Anne's office, he tells Richard that he believes this prophecy about the one in white means that Kaylin is going to find happiness on the winter solstice. But Richard tells him he's wrong because he actually has seen a vision of this. And even though he can't tell him what it is he saw, he can tell him that Kaylin is very far from happy.
Yeah, it's not great.
Like, spoiler alert, she's dead. So, not a great one.
So yeah, I don't think that's her happiness that she's finding there.
Or maybe. I mean, Kaylin's done some crazy shit, so who knows? Just saying.
Warren explains that when reading a prophecy, the vision is true and so is the prophecy, but not in the way you'd think just from reading it. And since Richard's seen a vision, he must be a prophet.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense. Warren adds a little bit here about how the sisters don't really know any of this. And so, to Warren's reason, well, if you're seeing visions, you must be a prophet.
Yeah, nobody else sees them.
Right, just like guys like us. So, you're one of mine. You're one of my kind of wizards.
But Richard explains that the prelate told him he's actually a war wizard. Rah! He has both
War
sides.
wizard, Jade. we can't just pass that. War wizard.
Yeah, he's a Banff.
Holy shit. I'm a what now? Cool.
He has both sides of the gift, and that's why shields can't stop him at the palace. He's basically a living skeleton key.
Yeah, he just goes where he wants, which is funny because now he has permission, and I will bet that Anne knew to give him permission to go wherever he wants because he literally can.
Yeah, like, she's not going to hinder him because she knows that, like, he has the ability, and apparently she's not trying to stamp on that.
Yeah, no, nobody wants to be in his way.
However, the spells keeping the Radahan in place, like, from leaving the area, were put in place by the old wizard, so he can't get past those. So that's why the end of his rope is where it is.
Yeah, so he can't escape. Because for a second, it makes you feel like, oh, well, if he has subtractive, and he can just unlock any door in the palace, then he could probably just go to the edge of where he can go and just keep walking. And he'll be fine. But no, it doesn't actually work like that.
But Richard asks Warren if the prophecy says he'll be successful, and Warren quotes a piece of it, saying that if the keeper is released, his chance of success is as thin as the white blade.
So, like, not good.
Yeah, like, let's not let the keeper get out. That's not a great idea.
Yeah, no, let's not do that. I mean, you would want chances thicker than a sword blade.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, swords are pretty thin.
But there's a chance. Like, that's the thing to take away, I think. Right?
What, Dumb and Dumber, right? When he's like, do you want to date me? And she's like, not if you were the last guy on Earth. Or maybe if you were the last guy on Earth. So he's like, so you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
Right over.
I feel like it's probably, like a measure of who you are as a person if you look at it as a good thing or a bad thing. Like you're an optimist or a pessimist a little bit. Like either you're looking at the glass half full or half empty.
Oh, I'm a half empty kind of guy.
Yeah, like the idea of success being as thin as the blade of a sword being a good thing or a bad thing. Like, oh, there's a chance, or oh, that's a fucking small chance.
I do think there's some symbolism there because they're referring to Richard's sword of truth as it's as thin as that sword specifically, meaning that sword could very well be like the actual key to all of it because it's kind of specifically mentioned.
Oh yeah. Like that chance rests on the blade, and we know that too. Not necessarily the blade, but the person who holds the blade. But yeah,
it's all there. It's all connected. So, in a last-ditch effort, Richard asks if there's anything else Warren can tell him. Literally anything can't hurt right now. And Warren tells Richard that there is a prophet in the palace that might actually be able to help. Now, this is a shock to Richard, but I was thinking, what's the name of the place you're in again?
The pop.
What? You say there's prophets here? Well, yeah, I would imagine.
Well, like, aren't you one, Warren, or...
Yeah, actually, he fucking is. So I don't see why Richard was so, what? There's prophets here? Because it literally didn't make any sense. They don't just name castles on a whim, so...
Yeah.
There's a reason it's called that. Anyways.
But Warren says that he has never seen this dude. The prophet must be in one of the restricted areas. And Richard knows just where to go to get info on where he might be.
That's right. He's going to go visit his good buddy, Swordsman Andelmere. Not Kevin. Anyways, after being reminded of some favors, Andelmere tells him where he needs to go, and Richard quickly passes through most of the guards standing in the way.
Like, hey, how you doing? Bye.
Yeah, you remember me? You know you're going to let me through. Okay, have a nice afternoon, sir. The last two, though, they resist because they're obviously between Richard and some super important shit. But then he reminds them of, how good getting laid feels. And you like that, right?
You're a friend
you haven't
of Richard's,
had to pay
huh?
for that in the last 6 months, right? That's what I thought. But so they get out of his way, and he walks right through the fucking shield again and into the prophet's room.
I also thought it was funny that Richard was like, I'll just tell people that I stuck around you because everybody knows that I'm that fucking good at sneaking around this place that nobody would question it.
Do you think he would come clean with his invisibility cloak? Do you think he'd be like, okay, so I snuck around him because I actually took the Marizwith cape and I can render myself invisible or nearly invisible, and that's how I did it? Or do you think he'd be like, no, they just really weren't looking, so I just walked right between them?
Yeah, no, I don't think he would give up that information. I think he would just be like, Walsh was looking one way, the other guy went to take a shit, and I just walked right past him, and I'm just, like, super quiet, because, like, woods guide.
There was a bunch of kids hucking frogs. You should have seen it. So Nathan, the prophet, is not surprised to see Richard just stroll into his room, but he is kind of shocked by the fact that Richard's walking in alone. He was not escorted. The sisters didn't let him in. He just got through all the shields by himself.
Just like twirling a cane right down the hallway.
Right. And I loved what he said. He's like, that's a cool fucking trick. Wish you could show me how to do that. My skin, like, burns if I try.
It's also funny because you're, like, sitting in your fucking room, like, behind a whole bunch of shields and shit. And you would think that you have a little bit of advanced warning if someone's going to drop in on you. But
right.
No, you're just, like, chilling by your fireplace and this motherfucker just walks in. I would be like, hey!
You would think that the shield would be on the inside of the door, like in your room, so that, like, if they got to the door and they were able to open the door, then they would have to get through the shield to approach you. But as it happens now, they get through the shield, and if they fight their way through, just saying, and it's a hectic enough ordeal, then they're good and pissed off by the time they get to your door, and you're surprised, and then they're after you, if it were an attack thing.
Yeah, but see, I guess that's what lends to it not being an attack thing. It's not for his benefit. It's to keep him in.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And that's why Richard is a little bit surprised, actually, to see Nathan wearing a Radahan when he finally turns around. Because I think Richard had the implication that this guy was just kind of doing a job or, like, working with the palace. Like, oh, he's a prophet. He's up there doing prophet shit.
Yeah, he's got a room upstairs. It's obviously an office.
Yeah, like, Anne's office is behind all those shields and shit. This guy is too. It makes sense. Fucking Warren didn't say shit about this guy being a prisoner. He just said, oh, I can't talk to him. I'm not allowed yet. So.
Well, I mean, you think like the CIA and shit like that. There's restricted areas. Some people work in areas where you can't go. That all makes sense.
Right. And, it would make sense for a place like the Palace of the Prophet to keep some wizards on the payroll to, like, help with shit and direct them in shit. Yeah. It, like, prophecy, things that we know that the sisters obviously can't see the right way. Warren said that. The sisters don't even know that. So it'd be beneficial to them to keep some of these guys around. Obviously they don't, unless they're prisoner, though. So that's a little fucky.
Well, that's all they are. They're just breeding stock.
Yeah, they have control issues, is what the sisters have. They want to have control over everything.
Well, that's true. So Richard does another thing once he gets inside Nathan's office. He gets weirdly comfortable, like, right away. Sits in the chair, he puts his feet up, he grabs the pear, he just eats it. Like, yeah, I didn't ask permission, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't knock to come in, I didn't take my shoes off, they're now on your fucking table, I'm eating your shit.
I would be so happy to be like, hey, the shield let me in, so I can be in here, so you can't kick me out. Yeah.
If I were Nathan, though, I'd be fucking pissed. Like, I don't get to go out. You are bringing your dirty feet from your out into my in, and
right.
What the fuck?
This is my space. Not my space. My space. It's mine.
I can't go buy more pears. I'm sure somebody will buy them for me, but I can't go out and buy more pears, you dick.
Get your feet off that table, now.
It was like Gaston in Beauty and the Beast vibes.
Oh, when he takes his boots off and it's like, all... You're gone, mister.
So Richard and Nathan have a little bit of a back and forth about seeing each other's deaths, and Richard predicts that Nathan will basically rot away in the palace, unless he helps Richard escape.
So there's a catch.
Yes.
Richard wants the Radahan off, and the sisters told him he needs their help